A new Boeing 737 flying 126 people on a short hop from London to Northern Ireland. Suddenly, a series of explosive noises and severe vibrations rock the plane. It crashes just meters from the safety of a runway. 47 people die. Now, using advanced computer simulations, we reveal what really went wrong on Flight 092. Disasters don't just happen, they're a chain of critical events. Unravel the clues and count down those final seconds from disaster. Europe, England, London Heathrow, the world's busiest international airport. January 8th, 1989. In Terminal 1, passengers check in for British Midland Flight 092 to Belfast, Northern Ireland. It's a regular hour-long commuter shuttle. Healthcare worker Gareth Jones started a new job in Belfast 3 weeks ago.
Ask you one or two security questions online, sir.
Security checks are a way of life.
If you lived in Northern Ireland at the time, you got quite used to security. It was a period when there was heightened security there.
You look after these things, right? You look after Mother. Thanks.
Bye.
We'll do the before-start checklist down the line then, please.
Today, the passengers on Flight 092 are in the hands of 43-year-old Captain Kevin Hunt. He's one of British Midland's most experienced pilots, with 25 years flying under his belt.
Air conditioning and pressurisation packs on flight.
Flying with him, 39-year-old First Officer David McClelland. Tonight, they're flying an aircraft just 2 months old. It's one of Boeing's new 737-400 series. 7:15 p.m.
Boarding cars.
Thanks.
118 passengers board the brand new plane and take their seats.
Brakes released, and you are clear to push. We're back to start engines 2 and 1 on push.
Captain Hunt starts up the 2 engines. The 400 series aircraft is still new to him. He's clocked just 23 hours. First Officer McClelland has 53 hours.
All pressure's rising.
Seatbelts on there, sir?
To adjust the seatbelt, lift the buckle and pull the strap.
In the main cabin, Gareth Jones has a window seat over the wing in an emergency exit row.
Excuse me, sir. Hi there.
A flight attendant asks Gareth to read the safety card so that he knows how to open the overwing exit door.
Normally he was pretty blasé about it, but it was pleasantly done, and it would have been ill-mannered not to.
Air traffic control clears Flight 092 for takeoff. First Officer McClelland throttles the engines up.
D1, rotate. Positive climb.
And gear up.
Gear up.
Hell no.
7:52 p.m. British Midland Flight 092 is airborne and on its way to Belfast.
Roger, maintain 6,000 feet in airspeed.
Okay, 6,000 feet.
Check.
Within minutes of takeoff, the cabin crew start the drink service. With the hold-ups behind them, there's a light-hearted atmosphere. Passengers know they'll be on the ground in under 1 hour. 8:05 p.m. 13 minutes into the flight. The aircraft is climbing through 8,500 meters on its way to a cruising altitude of 10,600 meters. Then, without warning, a massive bang. The aircraft starts to vibrate violently. Flight attendant Debbie Griffiths immediately thinks of the Lockerbie disaster.
This instant sort of terror, if you like, and my first thought was, is there a bomb?
Gareth has good reason to be worried. His seat gives him a clear view of the plane's wing. And what he sees fills him with foreboding.
I could look out of the window and see a trail of spark-like emissions from where the engine would be.
From their seats in the cockpit, Captain Hunt and First Officer McClelland can't see either of the 2 engines, so they don't know about the sparks. Like all pilots, they must rely on their cockpit instrument display to diagnose the problem.
Your control. I have it.
The new display on the 400 Series 737 is unfamiliar to them, but it's state-of-the-art technology. Hunt and McClelland scan the screens and LED instruments. They diagnose an engine problem and shut down the faulty engine.
Throttling back.
Hey.
Okay, shall I go through the...
The terrible clunking and vibration immediately cease. The 737 is now behaving normally again.
You're approaching 1,000th level.
But safety rules call for the crew to land the plane as soon as possible.
Let's get a turn going for East Midlands.
Hunt is in luck. Air traffic control clears him for an emergency landing at East Midlands Airport, just 10 minutes flying time away.
Control, fly heading 090, be vectoring for the ILS.
8:17 p.m. The aircraft descends through 2,000 meters. They're 8 minutes from touchdown.
So 160, please, David. Flight level 40.
and...
1 minute later, air traffic control tells Captain Hunt to make a right turn to line up with the runway.
Midland 092, descend to altitude 3,000 feet.
Midland 92, descend up to 3,000 feet. Show.
They're on final approach. 8:20 p.m. Another, even louder bang rocks the aircraft. The passengers realize that the noise must come from the plane's last remaining engine.
Being absolutely terrified, not really knowing what was going on.
Gear down. Gear down. And flat 15.
Air traffic control clears Captain Hunt to descend to 600 meters.
Final approach, please.
They must get the plane down and fast before their last engine fails altogether. Then, everything goes silent.
I remember thinking to myself, well, there's nothing you can do about it. If him upstairs wants to take you now...
The plane is now fighting a losing battle with gravity.
662, 10 knots.
Hunt orders the first officer to try to restore power. McClelland begins the reignition sequence, but they're losing height rapidly. Now the left engine catches fire. The pilots can see the airport runway lights less than 2 kilometers away. But there are more lights closer to the plummeting plane. The lights of the M1 motorway, the UK's major north-south artery. If they crash on the motorway, the death toll could be horrendous. It comes to rest just 900 meters from the safety of the runway. Captain Hunt made it across the motorway, just. Incredibly, no cars are passing at the moment of the crash. Inside the wreckage of the 737's middle section, Gareth Jones and his fellow passenger Teresa are alive. They're sitting over the wing, the strongest part of the aircraft. Gareth is not even badly hurt. He cannot believe his luck. But the danger isn't over yet.
When I opened my eyes, I could see the little bush that was on fire and thought, hang on, this is dangerous. We're right over the wing's full of fuel. We'd better get out of this place pretty quick.
It's a miracle the plane's 5,000 plus litres of aviation fuel haven't caught fire. But the fuel is now pouring out of the damaged wings, and one of the engines is still in flames. If the fuel ignites, Gareth and any other survivors will have little chance. Having lived through an air crash, they could still burn to death. Gareth desperately pulls the emergency door handle, but it won't open.
Fortunately, I remembered Jamie's instructions on the card and grabbed the handle, pulled the door in and threw it out. I remember sticking my head back in through the hatch and shouting to Teresa, give me a hand, and this little hand appeared out of the blackness. And I remember pulling her out through the door.
Still trapped in the wreckage of the nose section, flight attendant Debbie Griffith. She's in a bad way, but her main fear is a fuel explosion.
I was having real problems breathing and actually felt like I was dying. I was really sort of fighting to live. And I just expected the engines to go. and I can actually remember thinking it hurts to me quickly.
8:30 p.m. 5 minutes after the crash, the fire crews reach the aircraft. They start to douse the whole area with foam.
The fireman shouted through, "We've got the engines out." So at least then I knew that we were in with a fighting chance.
Of the 126 people on board, the impact kills 39. 8 more die in hospital from their injuries. Among the survivors, the 2 pilots, David McClelland and Captain Hunt. Now, by rewinding the day and by going deep into the investigation, we can reveal what really happened on Flight 092. Advanced computer simulation will take us where no camera can go, into the heart of the disaster zone. Eddie Trimble is the chief investigator from the UK's Air Accident Investigation Branch. He's worked on all the major air disasters in the UK over the last 30 years. Trimble arrives at the crash scene around midnight, just 4 hours after the accident. As the hours pass, he finds none of the telltale signs of damage from explosives. The team quickly rule out a terrorist attack as the cause of the crash. This is not another Lockerbie. They desperately need clues to explain what could cause both the 737's jet engines to fail. Accounts of the plane's final moments are coming in from eyewitnesses. They report flames in the left-hand engine. Trimble starts to probe the left engine. It's not an easy job. The crash impact seriously damaged it. But he soon finds something that's clearly not crash-related. The fan blades. Most of them are severely damaged or fractured. Trimble concludes that the fan blade fracture threw debris deep inside the engine. The resulting damage was fatal. He must send the left engine for further tests to discover what caused the fan blade to fracture in the first place. Trimble realizes that when the left-hand engine starts to go wrong, the flight crew inexplicably shuts down the perfectly good right-hand engine. Now the whole focus of the investigation shifts. This astonishing discovery rocks the aviation world. How could such experienced pilots shut down the wrong engine on a brand new aircraft? Trimble knows that the plane is one of the new 737-400 series launched a year earlier. First Officer McClelland has flown just 53 hours on the 400 series. Captain Hunt, even fewer. Could the pilot's unfamiliarity with some aspect of the new design have caused the fatal error? To find out, Trimble must probe every twist and turn of events on Flight 092. Using the cockpit voice recordings, he starts to analyze every decision the pilots took on the flight deck.
Okay, we're just turning off the localizer. Column 1 fully established. Midland 092 is fully established.
The flight crew feel the vibration and smell smoke escaping through the damaged engine seals into the air conditioning ducts. They wrongly assume there's a fire in one of their 2 engines. Captain Hunt asks which is the problem engine.
Which one? Which one?
The cockpit voice recorder reveals the first act in a terrible chain of events. First Officer McClelland starts to say left, but then changes his mind.
No, it's the right one.
Eddie needs to find out why McClelland hesitates and then gets it wrong. He knows that the pilots can't physically see the engines. They must rely on their instrument display to diagnose the problem. The cockpit display on the new 400 series boasts LED dials and screens in place of traditional mechanical instruments. Did Hunt and McClelland have trouble interpreting its unfamiliar instrument display?
Okay, we'll throttle it back.
The new display has a meter to monitor unusual vibration on each engine. These should allow the pilots to see at a glance which engine is in trouble. The meters have always been a feature of the 737 cockpit display, but on the 400 series they look very different. On the new 737, the engine vibration meter has an LED needle. It swings around the outside of the dial instead of the inside as in earlier versions. And it's only the size of a 20-pence piece. The crew's unfamiliarity with the new plane means they lose their first opportunity to diagnose the problem correctly. But it's still a mystery why they reached the conclusion that it's the right-hand engine that's malfunctioning. The cockpit voice recordings give Trimble another clue.
Can you smell that? What is that? It doesn't be something. Smell something.
When the pilots smell smoke from the damaged engine, they know the only way it can reach the cockpit is via the air conditioning system.
Can you smell that?
It's a fire coming through.
In Captain Hunt's experience, the air conditioning on a 737 is powered by the right-hand engine.
Which one is it?
No.
He assumes that is where the smoke is coming from.
Well, throttle it back. Throttle it back.
But Boeing has made another change to the latest 737. On the new planes, the air conditioning is powered not just by the right engine, but also by the left-hand engine. But the investigators still face a big mystery. Why does the aircraft seem to return to normal function after the pilots turn off the wrong engine? To solve this mystery, Eddie Trimble and his engineering specialists delve deep into the workings of the 737's jet engines. All 737s have an auto throttle, a form of cruise control that maintains the desired airspeed by automatically sending the right amount of fuel to the engines. To shut down the engine, First Officer McClelland must disengage the auto throttle. This returns the plane to full manual operation and allows him to start throttling back the engine. Trimble suspects that this routine step holds the key to the mystery. What Trimble discovers about the behavior of the auto throttle explains why the plane appears to fly normally on a badly damaged engine. It's a major breakthrough. The investigation team can now unravel exactly what happened aboard Flight 092 in the final, fateful seconds from disaster. 8:05 p.m. When the fan blade fractures on the left engine, its fragments damage the engine severely, causing a reduction in fan speed. The auto throttle reacts by pumping more fuel to the stricken engine, trying to maintain the fan speed. This causes the damaged engine to shudder violently and throw out sparks. These ignite surplus fuel, causing the flames seen by the passengers. 8:07 p.m.
It's the left. No, it's the right one. Okay, well,
Misled by the smoke coming through the air conditioning, the crew misdiagnosed the problem engine. Captain Hunt orders the fully functioning right-hand engine to be shut down.
Okay, throttle it back.
First Officer McClelland disengages the auto throttle and instantly pulls back the thrust lever on the right engine. The minute he does so, the vibration stops and the smell of smoke disappears. Eddie Trimble now knows why. Data from the black box reveals that when the pilots disconnect the auto throttle in order to shut down the right engine, both engines return to manual throttle. Sensors inside the damaged left engine detect that it's spinning slower than normal, which triggers a reduction in fuel flow. With the fuel flow now at a level the engine can handle, the vibration and flames disappear. Now the left engine appears to be functioning normally, when in fact it's fatally damaged. The crew naturally think they've shut down the correct engine. What they don't realize is that it is disconnecting the auto throttle that solves the problem, not, as they believe, closing down the right-hand engine.
That particular effect of the auto throttle was the clincher which caused both pilots to believe that in retarding the right engine, they had identified the engine which was malfunctioning.
It's a revelation to the investigators that the behavior of the 737's auto throttle might mislead pilots during an engine malfunction. And investigators are about to discover how a last terrible twist of fate snatches away the final chance to save Flight 092. 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go.
can arm approach now. Yes, Shane, we'll take flaps 1, please. Speed 190.
The pilots increase throttle to the left engine to control their descent. What they don't realize is this act will deal the engine its fatal blow. Increasing the fan speed throws more debris from the fractured fan blade deep into the engine.
Thrust is going. Losing the thrust. Okay. Tell them we got a problem.
It's now tearing itself apart, and the runway is still 21 kilometers away. 1 minute to go. The engine loses all power. It now catches fire.
Got a fire in the number 1 engine.
No, forget that. Just start the other one. Get it going.
Captain Hunt has run out of time. He's lost both engines. In desperation, he tries to restart the right-hand engine with a windmill start, using the plane's speed to spin up the engine blades.
She's not going.
Get it out.
She's not going.
Light flow.
She's not going, Kevin.
Light flow.
But it's too late. Their airspeed is too low. Hunt pulls the nose up to stretch the glide. He keeps the aircraft in the air long enough to clear the village of Kegworth. But Captain Hunt knows it's all over. 10 seconds from impact. Captain Hunt makes his final announcement.
It's not going, Kevin.
Prepare for crash landing. Prepare for crash landing.
At 8:24 and 43 seconds, British Midland Flight 092 crashes into the motorway embankment at 185 kilometers per hour.
Midland 092, this is East Midlands radar, do you read? Midland 092, this is East Midlands radar, do you read? Midland 092, East Midlands, do you read?
The plane comes to a stop just 900 meters from the airport runway. But 5 months after the crash, there's a final twist in the tale. A shocking discovery that grounds more than 30 of Boeing's brand new 737-400 aircraft worldwide. June 1989. 5 months after the Kegworth crash, 2 more Boeing 737-400 series aircraft suffer identical fan blade fractures in flight. In both cases, the pilots read the signs correctly and land safely.
The Civil Aviation Authority has tonight grounded all Britain's Boeing 737-400 aircraft.
Aviation authorities around the world ground all planes with the same type of engine for urgent inspection. CFM, the engine's manufacturer, discovers a design fault in the fan blades. Running at maximum power above 7,600 meters, the low air density sets off a previously undetected vibration in the blades. The resulting stress can lead to fractures. It emerges that the engine was never tested in flight. The 737-400 aircraft and its engines are an upgrade of the 300 series. The engine was only bench tested in a laboratory. A flight test was not mandatory. If it had been, the potentially catastrophic vibration effects on the blades might have been detected. The engine manufacturer has to redesign the engine and refit 99 400 series aircraft. Aviation regulations now require manufacturers to flight test all new engines. Just over 18 months after the Kegworth air crash, the Air Accident Investigation Board publishes its report. The lessons learned from the Kegworth crash have had a wider impact on aviation safety. Boeing redesigned cockpit displays for new aircraft, making them easier to interpret. Simulator training is now mandatory if the design of an aircraft changes substantially. And airline training around the world now emphasizes and encourages full communication between cabin and flight crews, particularly during an in-flight emergency. Of the 126 passengers and crew on board, 47 lost their lives. For the survivors, nothing can erase the memory of that dreadful night. But they have rebuilt their lives. Debbie Griffith left the airline industry to train as a nurse.
You can't go through a plane crash without changing. It's made me live for the moment. I've always been fairly happy-go-lucky, but I've never felt bitter. I've never felt, why me, why not me? I'm nothing special.
Gareth Jones's physical injuries on the night were minor, but the emotional scars are still with him.
You did feel dirty afterwards, that, you know, why me? Why did I survive? What had I done that was special? And to a degree that lives with me to this day. I don't know why I escaped, apart from picking a lucky seat.
The Boeing 737 is still the world's most popular aircraft. Today, a 737 takes off somewhere in the world every 5 seconds. Its safety record is one of the best in aviation.